Morning and welcome to Unity of Port St. Lucie. Yeah, Nancy's got to take her seat. That's good. And some people haven't got the word yet. Hey there. Good morning. Good morning. All right. This morning we welcome Reverend Catherine Lovekay into our midst. We're blessed to have her with us. And if you would all stand and sing our opening song, One Light. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would invite you now to sit back and relax and consider these words this morning from our prayer for inner peace. I open my heart and mind this morning to the presence of God that is within me and in everyone and everything, that one power and one presence. I let God's peace fill my being. In this presence I am peaceful, poised, confident, and strong. I relax in God's loving care and release all of my cares, knowing that God is upholding me and sustaining me in all that I do. God's presence calms me, quiets the storms around me, and leads me to a place of perfect peace. As I center myself in that peaceful presence this morning, I let go of every concern and relax in the safety of God's love and in the love of those around me. I find Unity of Port St. Lucie a sanctuary of love and peace, and I am open and receptive to receive all that has to soothe my mind and soul this day. And so it is. Amen. Would you join with me in stating our mission statement, please? To develop our spiritual connection with God through prayer, education, and service. And our vision statement, Unity of Port St. Lucie is an expanding community for personal healing and spiritual growth. And once more, let's stand and sing our congregational song, We Are Guided by the Light.
Every day we make a new way.
Good job, girls.
Say thank you.
You're welcome. This morning, our daily word will be read to us by Mr. Bounds.
Good morning. Today's word is gather. We gather and magnify the presence of God. As I gather with others in the spirit of love and peace, my awareness of God's presence becomes more powerful, even palpable. Together we create an energy, a vibration greater than any of us has alone. I am comfortable and at ease when I notice our differing appearances, preferences, backgrounds, and opinions, because I am reminded of the limitless diversity of divine expression and my place in it. When I join in fellowship with my family, friends, and all others who are dear to me, each of us becomes a mirror for the others. We see in one another the divine presence that lives in and expresses as every person. The unifying energy of divine love unites and binds us together. In this love we are one. And from Psalms, how very good and pleasant it is when kindred live together in unity. And would you say with me the affirmation? We gather and magnify the presence of God.
Joining me now as we allow attention to go deeper. First of all, taking a moment to bless the body and to relax from all the activity of the morning. A moment to be seated as comfortably as you can be. Taking a deeper than usual breath or two, and allowing a wave of blessing to extend down over the body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Blessing the body, being seated as comfortably as you can be right now. In so doing, we allow the body to support us as we take our attention yet deeper. The next step is to allow the mind to settle down, to allow the restlessness in the mind to settle down. And we do that most easily by choosing one thing for the mind to focus on. And if you will, this morning, allowing that one thing to be the sensation of you breathing. Just what it feels like to have the air entering at your nostrils and the air passing over the moist back of your throat as you inhale. and what it feels like as the air passes over the moist back of your throat as you exhale. Maybe even noticing a temperature difference. Seeing if the air as you breathe out feels a little warmer on the back of your throat because it's been heated by the lungs. Just tuning in to the sensation, the experience of you breathing your natural breath. At this point, you're not breathing deeper intentionally, you're just watching, just experiencing what it feels like in this very moment to be you breathing. And this is important because it's as we allow the body to relax and as we allow the mind to settle down, attention naturally goes deeper. And at this deeper level, soul just knows itself as it is. And here, at soul level, we experience peace. The peace that Jesus spoke of when he said, "My peace I give to you, not as the world gives." So when the world gives, it's temporary. At soul level, peace is permanent. And peace is independent of anything happening or not happening in the outer world. That kind of peace we soak in at soul level. And this is the level where love is. It's a deeper love than the sentimental love that can be experienced at outer levels. This is a love that has no restrictions, a love that is like the fragrance of a rose. It just is. And it's for everybody. And this is a love in which your innocence is clear. So here at soul level, we rest in innocence, purity, unbounded love, and unconditional peace. Here we rest. Dwelling at this level where peace is the natural state and love is the natural state. Dwelling at this level, being familiar with the inner peace and inner love that are always in fullness at our deepest inmost center, so that more and more we live from this center, and more we show up automatically as peace and love in the very situations that are part of our everyday life. Being so familiar with this inmost center that peace and love naturally shine through our eyes as we look at people, and through our words as we speak with people, and through our hearts as we just walk our path through this earth. It's one love that unites us all. So bringing forward now the experience of pure love, absolute peace, bringing that forward as you again include in your attention the people here with you in prayer, in meditation this morning, and opening eyes as you're ready, and we'll sing One Love. Good morning. It's nice to be back here. It's been a while since I've been here. 2 weeks ago, we celebrated Palm Sunday and remembered how the loved ones of Jesus warmly, enthusiastically welcomed him back into Jerusalem to celebrate Passover. And then last week we celebrated Easter and remembered the appearances of Jesus to his loved ones after the crucifixion and burial. He was experienced again. And today I wanted to highlight one of those appearances and one message that he left in the days after the Easter event. I want to underline and share an experience of Jesus having a conversation with Peter. Remember Peter, right before the crucifixion, Peter had been asked 3 times, "Aren't you with Jesus? Don't you know him?" And what did Jesus say? No. Peter was afraid for his own life at that time. So, no, I'm not with him. So 3 times Peter said, no. Okay, so now Jesus is appearing to Peter after the Easter event, and Jesus has 3 questions for Peter. Well, actually, he has one question 3 times. Jesus says to Peter, "Do you love me?" And Peter says, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." And Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." And then a second time, Jesus said to Peter, "Do you love me?" Peter said, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." And Jesus said, "Tend my sheep." And yet a third time, "Do you love me?" "Yes, Lord, you know everything. You know I love you." "Feed my sheep." So that's the one teaching that I want to lift up for us this morning. Feed my sheep. Okay, so who are the sheep? Well, Jesus had described himself as the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd is one who is committed to the sheep, one who is going to stay there if a danger arises, one who's going to be there to look after the safety and the well-being of the sheep, as opposed to a hired shepherd who might, when the danger to the sheep arises, leave because he's only there for the wages. He's not there really for the sheep. So Jesus had described himself as the Good Shepherd. So who are the sheep that Jesus, the Good Shepherd, was ministering to? Well, certainly the disciples. He was ministering to the disciples. And he was ministering to the people who showed up on Palm Sunday, what we call Palm Sunday now, to greet him back into Jerusalem. They were part of his flock. And all the people that he healed, the blind, the lame, the ill, sometimes chronically ill, they were part of his flock. And the people that he taught on the hillside and in the temple, they were part of his flock. And the multitude that he fed on the hillside, they were part of his flock. So certainly all of his supporters were part of the flock he was tending. And also some of the, some. He was supportive also of the non-supporters of him. The people that crucified him. Jesus, looking down from the cross, said, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Father, forgive them." He was praying, he was blessing on their behalf. And even the Pharisees that he had taken to task for hypocrisy. Jesus was to say later, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." So even they are part of the flock that Jesus is teaching and looking after. And then Jesus was to say to the disciples, "Go forth and teach the nations." So who is the flock that Jesus is ministering to? Everybody. Everybody. And feed my sheep. What are we supposed to feed them? Well, what was Jesus feeding him? Previously, Jesus had equated physical nourishment with spiritual nourishment, bread with the message. So what is the message that highlights the ministry of Jesus? Jesus said, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another as I have loved you. By this will all men know that you're my disciples." And when he was asked, what is the greatest commandment? He said, "Love God with all your heart and your mind, your soul and your strength, and your neighbor as yourself." And then somebody listening to Jesus said to Jesus, "Well, who is my neighbor?" And as was his teaching style, Jesus spoke in symbols and he spoke in stories. People remember the stories. So now he's being asked, well, who is my neighbor? And Jesus, in response, tells the Good Samaritan story. There was a Jewish man who, while he was walking his way, was attacked and left for dead in the roadway. And two Jewish leaders walked by and kept on walking. Now, they would have been expected, you would think, to stop and help. They did not. They walked on by. Along came a Samaritan, a foreigner, someone that traditionally the Jews at that time looked down on. And he was the one who stopped and very generously helped the Jewish man on the roadside. So Jesus then asked his listeners, so who was the neighbor? And of course they replied, well, it was the one who showed mercy. And so, who is our neighbor? Well, the message of Jesus is for all of us at all time. So who is our neighbor that we're to extend love and mercy to? Just the people who live on our block? Just the people who live in our community? Just the people who look like us? Just the people who agree with us politically? Who is our neighbor? The message of the story, the message of Jesus, is that everybody is your neighbor. Everybody. So, if everybody's part of our flock, and everybody's our neighbor, let's carry it on from there. Jesus added, and this is previously to the Easter event, but Jesus said, whatever you've done for the least of the brethren, you've done for me. When I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. Whatever you've done for the least of the brethren, you've done for me. So we'll add that into our concept of everybody. Who's the least of the brethren? That's not a value judgment, by the way. It's, who's the most vulnerable? Who's the most in need of help right now? The least of the brethren is not meant to mean who's the least valuable. It means who's in the greatest need right now. Whatever you've done for the least of the brethren, that was a motivating source of inspiration for Mother Teresa. She took those words literally, that whatever she's done for the people in need, the least of the brethren, she's done to Jesus, not just for Jesus. To her, she was doing it to Jesus. Mother Teresa felt that everything that she did for the person lying in the gutter or sick or whatever, she was doing that to Jesus in the guise of that ill person or that dying person. To her, each person was Jesus in that appearance. Jesus in disguise is the way she put it. You're Jesus in disguise. You're Jesus in disguise. You're Jesus in that appearance. And when she was asked, how can you take care of so many people? She said, I don't take care of so many people. I only take care of one. Because again, to her, everybody was Jesus showing up in the guise of that person. Okay, so if everybody's our neighbor and everybody is part of the flock we're supposed to tend, we're supposed to feed, what is it we're supposed to feed them? Well, love. Love God, love your neighbor as yourself. The message of Jesus was love. Okay, so how do we do that? How do you love everybody? How do you love everybody? Well, you got to be anchored in love if you're going to love everybody. And you have to be able to look past behavior. A love that is there for you only if you're meeting someone's expectations or behaving in a way that they approve of is a conditional love. That's not the kind of love Jesus was recommending. Jesus said it's easy to love the easy to love. Anybody can do that. His call was that love be without condition. So, the meditation time or prayer time, however you do that, everybody has their way. However you do that, how do you access that soul level where peace is your natural state and love is your natural state, and you can anchor there and fill yourself to the brim from that level? Do you do it with meditation? That's my way. Do you do it with affirmation? Do you do it with prayer? How do you do that? It matters that you do that you anchor yourself where peace is the natural state and love is the natural state. And then more and more, love becomes automatically the way you look at people, the way you greet people. The homeless come to mind. Commonly, you hear people say, it's a racket. They're probably making more than I am. If I give them money, they're going to use it for drink, drugs, whatever. Can you look with your heart of hearts and at least give a blessing? I'm not saying give or don't give money. That's entirely whatever you feel guided to do in any given circumstance at any given time. But at least can we commit to having our reaction be blessing? And sometimes if we're passing a homeless person or whatever on the street and I'm the passenger in the car, I'll just go like this. And so many times they'll go like this. Everybody understands a blessing, and this conveys a blessing. Can we have our first response be, I look further than judgment. I look further than appearance. Have our first response be namaste. That's familiar to you, isn't it? Namaste. Nama, I honor. And te, the highest of you, the presence of God in you. Namaste literally means I acknowledge the presence of God in you as you. So this is a metaphysical church. In metaphysics, you take all of the elements of a Bible passage as part of yourself. All right, so it's Jesus, the guiding light within you, talking to Peter, the listener within you, in this case, addressing the sheep. Well, what are the thoughts and the feelings that flock through your mind in the course of a day? We're to tend them. Metaphysically, looking at this story, we're to tend and feed the thoughts and the feelings that flock through our mind, heart in the course of a day. If there is anything in there that's a running criticism, can you upgrade that sheep to blessing? Is there somebody in your life that every time you think about them, you want to criticize them for something? Can you upgrade that thought feeling to namaste? Keeping it really simple. We don't want to upgrade it to something we have to think about or a treatise in our mind, but can you upgrade it to just namaste, to switch from criticizing to namaste? What else is going? Ukraine. What happens in your mind, heart, every time you listen to the news, every time Ukraine comes to mind? Is it, oh my God, atrocity, disaster? We're all connected in mind, heart. What are you sending the people in Ukraine? Oh my God, disaster? Is that what you want to be sending them? Can we upgrade that sheep to blessing? And this is again why you want to anchor yourself in love and peace with your meditation time, your prayer time, so that blessing is your first response, your automatic first response. If we're stuck in, oh my God, we are not helping the situation, and the call is to help. Feed my sheep. Upgrade your reaction to feeling peace within yourself and tucking Ukraine into that. Now you're part of the solution. You gotta have, you can't share what you don't have. You gotta be anchored in love and peace yourself. Then you tuck Ukraine into that. Jesus said, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. How many people do you know of that are praying for Putin? The call of Jesus was love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Are you willing to pray for his spiritual enlightenment? Are you willing to look deeper than appearances? That's the ministry. That's the call. For your entertainment, I brought this. It's one of those 5D stereograms. Inside this background design is the picture, and I'll even tell you what it is. It's a picture of a deer. But there's a special way of looking if you want to see the deer. Otherwise, all you're going to see is the background. There's a special way of looking. Your eyes have to make an adjustment. Some people do this easily. Some people it takes a little more time. But that's how it works. There's a picture of a deer there. But you got to look a special way. So what we're talking about this morning is you got to look a special way. At the events in your life and the thoughts, feelings that run through your mind, you got to look in a special way. You got to look from soul. You got to look from, I'm a spiritual being whose nature is peace. I'm a spiritual being whose nature is love. This is what I share. This is feed the sheep. Whether we're talking about the outer sheep meaning each other or the inner sheep meaning our thoughts and feelings, it's to feed inner and outer love because you took the time to anchor there yourself. And so you're a radiating center then of peace and love naturally as you walk the path. And your blessing is for everybody. It's all one flock. We're one family of God. If there's anybody you want to include, then that's your If there's anybody you want to exclude, then that's your teaching moment. We're all children of God. So, namaste. I look at all of you and acknowledge the light of God that you are, the love of God that you are, and the difference you make as you walk your path with that understanding. Namaste. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Kathy. Wonderful message. Namaste.
Namaste.
And now we have some special music and a special group here. This is wonderful.
We're inviting our nieces up to help us sing this song. We call them the Zimmerman Singers. They were kind enough to learn the chorus of this song. And you can sing as well if you feel it. It's called, probably right up there. Let Go and Live. Holding on, pain I have,
Nice job. Thank you, girls.
They just learned that this morning.
They do better than the choir.
Oh, I would invite you now to take your offerings and gifts in your hand and say with me our offering blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I love to give. Double duty. Okay, while the offering plates are circulating through the sanctuary, Linda Woodcox is our prayer chaplain today. She'll be over in the alcove after service for some affirmative prayer. And Linda, don't forget, I need you to sign some checks, salaries, otherwise these folks don't get paid. Can't let that happen. Spiritual discussion group was last Tuesday. Pretty good group that night. First and third Tuesday of every month. Yoga with Lana, Mondays and Wednesdays. Prayer circle, Thursdays from 11 to 11:30. The caregiver support group by Bob West on the fourth Thursday of every month. Sherry Peck will provide some Reiki for those interested. Just look her up, give her a call. She'll schedule a time. Meditation moment today after service, brought to you by our prayer chaplains. So, will the offerings come forward, please? Come on up. There you go. Reverend Catherine, would you bless these offerings for us, please?
We accept these tithes, gifts, and offerings, and we bless them to the joy of being and providing a church family where people can come, experience the joy, drop their pain, and move on to bless the world. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Yes, I do have an announcement.
Of course he does.
There will not be choir rehearsal this Thursday, but there will be choir rehearsal on Wednesday. I have a prompter here that's moving her lips, telling me what to say. I don't know how life would be without her. But yes, choir rehearsal this Wednesday at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
All are welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, the prayer chaplain today is Monica Anderson. I have
Oh.
a calendar. I was prayer chaplain.
I'll have to do the, speak to the graphics department once again. So thank you all for coming today. Anyone who had anything to do with the service, Reverend Catherine, Jeff and Linda, and the Zimmermans, that's fantastic. So now, let's stand and sing our peace song.